Cosmos, this is dun, 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 the Nerds That Know. Smurf here, accompanied by my brilliant companions, the mistress of the seductive arts, Bobby, and the effervescent comic collector, Tate.
And with the mistress of the seductive arts, the giant goblet that fills an entire bottle of wine.
Wow,
That's impressive.
That's very fucking. I'm almost envious of that. I just got this little dinky thing for cocktails. I don't have my bottle. Damn.
This holds an entire bottle of wine. And it makes me happy.
If it doesn't, by the end of it, you will be. This week, Fox is on location. She is busy seducing a traveling band of monks, while Stash is busy being their spank boy. So it's okay. Everything works together. It's kind of a weird take on the animated Robin Hood, if you will. This week, we've got lots of
Oodalali.
Oodalada, oodalada, oodalada. That is one of my most favorite animated movies from Disney.
Absolutely.
Same here. The song is so addictive. I remember when God, I'm going to give something away here. When I was in band, we would do the Rooster song and see how fast the tempo we could keep up with the Rooster song with every stance getting faster and faster and faster. So
I think that's fantastic.
it's very, very good. But
I would say that the animated Robin Hood is my favorite interpretation of Robin Hood that has been done in film, followed by Men in Tights. I mean, there some of the straight versions are well done as well, but
hard to compete with Mel Brooks.
Yeah, Mel Brooks and a cross-dressing fox.
That's the best version, though.
Right up there with Jungle Book. I mean, you got
absolutely
in both.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Little John Blue, you got him right there.
Same voice, different color. Amazing how that works.
Yeah, funny how Disney was reusing the animation. Speaking of animation, I just realized that you can see our Halloween decor that has come in over the last couple of days. We are doing a whole Nightmare Before Christmas thing out on the patio. We got Oogie, Sally, Jack, and Zero.
Oh, there's Zero. Okay.
Yep. We got Zero. Actually, it was going past a bakery right off of Colfax, and they had a whole Nightmare Before Christmas display with this beautiful cake in the middle. And it was just, I want to break through the window and steal their Zero. We could probably just buy one online.
Probably could. I would just want to break in and just lick him. Just that's it. Just
Well, if you show up and start licking my Zero, I'll know why. This is my first goblet of wine, but it is a whole bottle. Okay, so we have much to cover.
Yes, we got lots to cover. So where to start? Let's start with our annual, usual, repetitive, what if? This week we get Party Thor, which is a definite throwback to the old school Thor, who's dumb, kind of lummoxy, all about the good time, who we've gotten in the comics, and who Chris Hemsworth has flirted with in the movies. But this sucked. I did not like this episode at all.
I like the end.
There were some fun parts, but it sucked. I really wasn't. I mean, it was cool that she called his mom. I mean, because if you're gonna, call a frat boy on his shit, who do you call?
Right.
His mom. So, I mean, that kind of made sense. But all in all, I was just kind of like, meh.
See, I was far more interested in the story they weren't telling. And that was, why were the planets blowing up when he left?
Well, that was the good question. Or they just, landed into the ground. I mean, there were some funny takeaways, especially when you got the Collector, riding big wheels. Loki's a frost giant. I mean, there's some cool stuff, but it seemed
like a throwaway story until the very end of it.
Yes, and it's like, what? Wait, what?
I liked the dark side of the what if universe that we were seeing before, and I feel like this took a complete turn away from that.
This was a very oodalada kind of episode.
Yeah, this was a lot more of a lead-in, it seemed like, into a different story.
That makes sense. I mean, but we'll see what happens next.
Well, and we've gotten kind of hints that there's a big reveal with the Watcher and a big story that's kind of coming out of his character. This week's episode is another kind of, it's an interesting take.
I like this week's episode.
This week's episode, it's a vast improvement over the last two. Because, again, I don't like Michael B. Jordan, and I think he's an absolute garbage human. But that's another story. So to get those two stories out of the way and kind of lead into what we get for this episode with the Infinity Stones, I'm back on board. And I hate saying that. I got like 1 foot in and 1 foot out every fucking week.
Well, yeah. I mean, and not to, belittle what's happening or anything else like that, but I feel like that's a big part of Marvel as a whole right now, is everybody's kind of like, yes, but no, but yes, and like finding the really hardcore, I'm going to watch it no matter what. It's harder to find those people than it was, let's say, in the Iron Man era.
Right.
Well, it seems like kind of they're taking different points from different parts of Marvel's lineage where they try to be funny, they try to be silly, they try to tell these weird stories kind of outside the norm. The one thing that I will say about What If, the consistency, there is a story happening in the background. Just like with what happened with WandaVision, there is a story. It's playing out in the background. Episode 8, right? 8? This week's episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Takes a big swing with what is happening.
And it's funny.
Yeah, 8 is the one that was released today.
Yeah.
So it's funny because you think that there's a lot to pull from to tell a story, but there's really not that much to pull from. When you start considering all of the films, how they're interlaced, and the story that is told, I mean, you've got maybe 20 films that what's the total count?
25 as of the release of Shang-Chi, I believe.
So 25 films to pull to make an episode, and it just, I mean, you run out of material quick. You don't have the entire Marvel universe to do a what if. Like 1 week could be Spider-Man, and 1 week can be X-Men, and this is Cap's story, or all of that.
Well, I will say they made some introductions in week 8, which we'll dive into next week.
Yes, they will.
Really open everything up a little bit.
So I don't know where it can go, but I know a lot of people, and this is something that I was predicting on the other podcast, was that they're going to lose a lot of fans because they're going to get lost in the weeds. This is a hard right from what the Marvel universe is, and you kind of need a scorecard to keep track of what the hell's going on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of people have actually confided in me. They're like, I gave up on What If week 2. They're like, I'm out.
Well, I mean, then you have people like Stash who gave up on Marvel, 12 films ago.
Right.
Because he said he was marveled out. They had oversaturated the market and he was just done. Right. But who is getting more into the what if side of things because it has a darker twist. Or at least he was 2 weeks ago when he and I last chatted.
Well, yeah, that was the zombie, and that was probably I almost feel that was like their zenith. That was as good as it was gonna get. It's not gonna get any better. There is hope after this week's episode, which we, like Tank said, we will dive into next week. But
the party still out. Yeah, the party Thor unfortunately kind of fell flat. It seemed like an unnecessary segue. I would have much rather them followed the behind-the-scenes story of what was happening with the planets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
than the story that they went with.
Well, and I had that same problem with the third Thor movie. Try saying that 5 times fast.
Oh, I loved the third Thor movie.
I thought that they tried too much to be the comedic Guardians style, and they took a step away from, that more serious style that were the first 2 movies.
Yeah, but that was on purpose. It was.
I understand it was on purpose.
Lethal Weapon with Thor and Hulk.
I understand what it was. I just don't think that it fit in with everything that we had been given up to that point.
But you have to look at, and this is a dissection of Taika Waititi more than it is Thor.
Yeah.
He's got the same trick now. He's getting predictable where you're in this unknown land and things aren't like what they seem. It's very Alice in Wonderland, and everything's kind of goofy, and it doesn't make sense till the end. And I'm starting to see this more and more in Taika's productions and things that he's doing, and I don't know if that's on purpose or if it's just like his shtick. I would like to see more from him because we know he can do it. I mean, his stuff on Mandalorian was really good, and things we do in the shadows. Again, it's still that same formula of it's not like it seems. It's kind of zany.
Yeah, he's not quite a one-trick pony, but he's close.
He's close.
He's close. Well, and
we're getting a lot of repeats.
Well, and I could say, talk about Taika Waititi, something that came out this recently was the Reservation Dogs.
Yes.
That's one of his also.
Yes, it is. And it is brilliant.
Yeah.
But it is, unless you've been, okay, I guess I can't say that. If you're not familiar with Res Life, you don't get it, but you do get it because of the ties and everything that goes on. But this show is brilliantly crafted and is a masterpiece. So that's why I'm like, I have faith in Taika, don't get me wrong, but I'm starting to see repeats. But then I see something like Reservation Dogs, and I'm like, holy flaming Cheetos, this is fucking awesome.
I mean, it's just trying to figure out, what works for the, for that particular time. And I feel like there are a lot of times where he completely misses it. Or, in my opinion, he does.
I mean, New Guy is his. And again, that's Alice in Wonderland. The world's not what it seems.
Yep.
But again, with like Tank's point, Reservation Dogs is, all of the different episodes stand so well upon themselves, and the season that they create is magical. It's absolutely magical.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of the first season of What We Do in the Shadows, where it was unique. It was off enough that it didn't feel like anything else. And that's exactly what this series feels like. So the question is, can he do it for season 2? Because I think it's already been picked up. So
I believe so. Let me double check.
Can he do it? Can he do it again?
And I would have to agree with you. It took a minute to get into the story because I don't really know much about Res Life. I didn't grow up in that. I don't know much about it. But
season 2 has been confirmed.
That makes sense.
Sorry.
They draw you into their story.
They do. But there's a lot of references. There are a couple of Quentin Tarantino references that are
lots of homage. Yes.
Oh my god! And Tarantino's not the only one that makes homages to. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, the title absolutely is like a definite homage to Tarantino. But there's episode-specific things that you're like, wow.
Well, and Cheese makes it a reference. Can I be Mr. Camouflage?
Yes. No, you can't be Mr. Camouflage. He's on another job. Never mind. But it's really like his take and his character building and his world building and just how he does it. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm really digging Reservation Dogs. I was put onto it. Red actually suggested it to me, and God bless her soul, she was spot on again. So it is.
She has
much watch.
Quite the selection and taste, and it's a little all over the board.
It is all over the board, and that's what I think I like about it the most, because you really don't know what to expect.
Yeah,
and it's entertaining. It's still satirical. It's not in your face kind of message sending, but there is a message. But it's fun, and I enjoy the shit out of that show.
Well, I think that the most important thing we can say right now for Taika is that I don't anticipate him becoming a Cards Against Humanity card like Shamalama Ding Dong did.
Well, no, because Taika's one trick is better.
Yeah,
that is true. And we don't have to wait all the way to the end to see it.
And right. It makes sense usually.
And this is more of a personal observation. I might be wrong. Usually I'm not. But I might be wrong on this. I mean, let me know. Send me a message. Don't at me with, hate mail, but I'll take a conversation.
If you have hate mail for Smurf, send it to nerdsthatknow@gmail.com.
Let me know. I love mail. Send me mail, please. Send me mail. No bills. But I'm very curious if people think the same thing. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Well,
what else we got?
We'll see. All right. So we've already covered a couple of topics just under Taika. But let's see what else we have on here. Let's jump over to Stranger Things. Season 4. I am so fucking excited.
Oh my God.
So here's the thing with Stranger Things is I didn't watch the first 3 seasons until this past summer.
What?
Okay.
Were you faking it the whole time, young lady?
Obviously. You should be used to that by now.
I gotta be with someone first.
Well, whose fault is that? Anywho, so it was, I guess it was actually this spring. Anyhow, I watched Stranger Things, and I had watched a couple of episodes, enough so that I had something to contribute on the show, but never really got super into it. And then my niece, our lovely Rowena, who has guest hosted for us on occasion, was oohing and eyeing and going on and on about Stranger Things, and she just would not shut up. It's either Stranger Things, a horror of some kind, or Harry Potter. Like those are the topics she wants to talk about. Slasher films, Stranger Things, Harry Potter. At 13, that is her whole world. So I watched all of the Stranger Things, and I binged watched all 3 seasons in like 2 days. There was very little sleeping involved.
Get that?
Right? And now I'm just like, okay, give me the next one. Because of the way they ended the final season, and the way that they're doing the build up for the new season.
So season 4's trailer lands, and we get a piece of Americana as we go back to the 1950s, and mom, apple pie, family sitting around a dinner table. What's a dinner table? Doesn't that hold the mail? No, this is where people eat, fuckers. And they get down to the nitty gritty, and they're diving in, and then the upside down hits, and that house goes straight to shit. And then present day, and oddly enough, the grandfather clock in the house is still ticking. Woo! I'm so excited to see how they piece this together and just what's going on. Dustin is of course being Dustin, and all the kids are there, very Scooby-Doo-ish, and
absolutely,
it's so well crafted. I just love the shit out of this show. So I'm anxious to see what they put together for season 4.
My only concern with season 4 coming out is I'm not going to sleep for like 2 days because I'm going to have to sit down and watch all of it by myself and then do it all over again with my 14-year-old niece.
Responsibilities are a bitch.
Right? God, it's tough to be me.
At least you have someone to watch it with. I mean, not at first. I mean, you can wait for your niece. You don't have to plow through it on your own.
Yeah, but I can't drink as much alcohol around her.
Why? You have someone to go get you more booze.
This is true. And she does understand that Mimi is bougie and likes the big glasses.
I mean, I'm sure that's what Tank's kids are for. I mean, they're there to get him beer. I mean, that totally makes sense. That comic book boxes to the flea market. That is Tank's for.
Oh yeah, you should see his oldest just like cap a bottle right with her teeth.
Here we go, Daddy.
I bet you we could teach her how to do that.
Not yet.
You know what? Here's what we'll do is we'll teach her how to open a bottle with a lighter. That way she can light mommy's smoke while giving daddy a beer.
That is brilliant. I love that plan.
She's 6. Girl has to have skills.
True. She's got to be marketable. I don't think we have a firm date on Stranger Things 4, but 2022 to kind of like keep people antsy. I'm honestly betting they're waiting to see how the season's going to fall out because their main competitor, let's face it, Umbrella Academy, is already wrapped, and they're already saying like the first month, January 2022, Umbrella Academy's coming.
Yeah.
I will be right back. 1 second.
All right. So I'm excited. Umbrella Academy wrapped. There are a lot of characters that have been added. I don't know who. So I'm in the dark. I'm at the point where I don't know. I'm with the rest of the fans. Like, I have no idea. I mean, I don't know anything.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that that's where they want us all to be.
I think so. I mean, they did do a good job of pulling elements from the comics, telling those stories. The Sparrow Academy is very unknown, so I'm waiting to see how they expand on that story.
Really at this point is just watching and waiting. I know that we're all going to have something to say, especially Fox, when it comes time for us to start talking about Umbrella Academy, because Fox, above all of us, is super excited to see what's happening with the Elliot Page character development.
Yeah. Makes sense.
They haven't said whether or not they're going to shift her gender or what.
Yeah. So we don't know.
Don't know. And they're kind of keeping it quiet on their end. But to see Elliot there and performing and smiles through the entire production, I'm assuming they took care and made everyone. They took in accommodations and made everyone comfortable. Is what I'm.
Yeah, I mean, the most important part is whether Vanya stays female or male doesn't really matter, but that Elliot Page did not lose a contract, is staying, front and center, is being super, open about everything, and I think that's fantastic.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, they kind of created Vanya's character very androgynous.
Yeah.
I mean.
Which, Ellen Page was very androgynous.
Yeah. So, I mean, they played to her strengths. And if there is one show that is more liberal with sexual orientation, ideas, and just the whole premise, it's got to be on the Umbrella Academy because, good Lord, I mean, there's shit flying everywhere. You got women fucking monkeys in that thing, for crying out loud.
This is true. I mean, and really, if God, now his name is escaping me. The crazy drug addict one.
Oh, Klaus?
Klaus. If he can fuck anything with a pulse, then Vanya's gender can change.
Yeah.
Or not.
I'm not too worried about it, and they may not even like indicate it, because looking at Elliot versus Ellen, I mean, they still look the same. I mean, there's nothing that really changes except for what's underneath the clothes. So I don't see a whole lot going on, except for Elliot's got some guns. Like, good Lord.
Yup. So
Jim, and didn't miss leg day. I mean, Elliot's gotten quite ripped. So it's like, good Lord.
yeah, which is always nice to see from really any actor or actress. You know, seeing them really owning their body and taking it all into account.
Well, it's inspiring, and we applaud choices and holding firm to them and the support that it probably took to do that. So we're excited
Absolutely.
to see. We're excited to see the character growth, and what characters are coming. So I January 2022 will be, I think, a full month, because I wouldn't be surprised if you don't have both Umbrella Academy and
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, and we got The Boys probably in there somewhere too.
Mhm.
They wrapped well, so there's like 3 heavy hitters that'll be coming out of the gate. So good time to be a fan.
Well, let's talk about why it's not a good time to be a fan of Broadway if you're going to go to the local theater. And I don't mean the live theater. I'm a big fan of our DCPA, Denver Center for the Performing Arts. I'm actually a season ticket holder. I'm very happy about that. But dear Evan Hansen. Okay. So I've seen.
Are you going to break out into song? Because that sounded like you were going to break into a song. Dear Evan Hansen. And I'm waiting for the orchestra to drum up behind you, and you break into song. Go.
I'm not Fox. I won't break into song unless I have had more liquor and am in significantly less clothing. But if you want to come and watch me sing while I strip, burlesque on the 20th. Anywho, so I saw Dear Evan Hansen live here in Denver, and it was a moving, incredible, like, just, you got completely engulfed in what was happening, because it's a very deep and emotional story, right? It's all about a teen suicide and mental illness and lying to try to fit in, and all of the struggles of a teenager, and young love, and a broken home, and all of this stuff, right? And when it's on stage and you're getting it compartmentalized, when the theater starts showing you screenshots of the texts that are coming through, or the video comments, which are read during a couple of the songs, you feel like you're connecting with the characters on stage. However, when you go and see it at the cinema, you do not get that experience. I've actually seen people calling it the hapless High School Musical. And Ben Platt, who was nominated for Tony for his original role in Dear Evan Hansen, has outgrown the part.
It happens.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does. But they still cast him as a 17-year-old boy, right? And apparently, in the theater release, he looks like himself. In the streaming release that's supposed to happen next month, he's been digitally altered to look 17.
What? Why would they wait until
No idea, but I've actually seen the previews for both, And you can definitely see the major difference. Like his face is softened, no stubble or anything else like that. And he looks very adolescent, and just, he looks the part, but very CGI'd in the streaming trailers.
Oh, so he doesn't look like Hobo Johnson about to drop a emo mixtape?
Yeah, pretty much. And I feel like the way that Evan is presented in the play, you want him to have his happy. You don't feel bad for the fact that he's been lying to everybody. Sorry, spoiler alert. But
apparently not many people wanted to know.
But in the movie, it's basically, you just feel like, well, gee, Evan, you're kind of a douchebag, so we're kind of glad that you're dealing with this shit.
You get what you paid for, fucker.
Because it's like, hey, you're hitting on the dead kid's sister. That's wrong. In the movie. In the play, it's, you're finally connecting with the girl you've had a crush on since you guys were both in grade school. It's sad that it took this point, but we're glad that you've both found a way to connect through it. And it's completely different.
I don't know what caused it, but it got absolutely
terrible reviews.
Destroyed at the domestic box office numbers were 7.5 million.
Oh my god, it's
that is criminally low.
There are a couple of songs that, in my opinion, should have been cut, but they also added new songs, like they do every time they make a fucking musical into a movie.
Why do they always do that?
I don't know. And you have any idea how much that pisses me off? A lot. That's how much. I will go into explicit detail on how irked I get with the fact that they changed the soundtrack.
Well, I know how much it pisses your sister off, so if that's any indication.
Yeah. I feel like this version of Dear Evan Hansen, the cinema score, is almost as bad as Russell Crowe in Les Mis. Not that the singing was as bad. Nobody can get that bad. But that it was in the Les Mis movie, they rearranged lines. They changed the feel and the meaning of some of the songs. And in Dear Evan Hansen, they did the same thing, and they added a bunch of stuff, and they took away things that they shouldn't have, and it didn't make sense. I loved the play. When I saw it, I saw it with my dad, and I actually told him, I was like, I'm glad that I got this extra ticket instead of mom going to see it, because mom was still teaching high school at the time. And I thought that it would have been too emotional for her, because she's had students who have committed suicide, who have had mental illness, who are from broken homes, because mom worked at a second chance school, right? So she had the high risk high school students. And I thought that Dear Evan Hansen, the play, would be too hard for her, with at least with dad, right? Because dad wouldn't understand the same aspect of things. But she can watch the movie. Cool, go for it.
I have a legitimate question. Do you think part of it is that it was very celebrated on Broadway, but it didn't have anywhere near the international recognition as the other movies that have been turned, or the other Broadway shows that have been turned into movies? Because it ate shit compared to every other one.
Yeah. It absolutely did not have the same
even
presence.
In the Heights earned more money, and it was available on HBO Max.
Okay. So first off, you have to think In the Heights also has the Lin-Manuel Miranda name behind it.
And that's part of what I'm wondering is, because this didn't have anything attached to it that was recognizable to the mainstream public.
Yeah. Well, even the actors that are in Dear Evan Hansen aren't really recognizable to the mainstream public in the same way like when they made Les Mis or when they made the movie of Rent. You know? Exactly. You know, I'm using Rent as a big example because when they filmed the movie adaptation, all but one of the characters was the original Broadway cast of that core group. Right. And so but these are names that people know. People know who Idina Menzel is. Right. Even if you didn't, if you have a child and you've ever heard of Frozen, you know who she is. You know? But nobody, I mean, did either of you guys have any idea who Ben Platt was before this?
I still don't.
Solely due to my wife.
Okay. He has a part in fucking acapella movie, Anna Kendrick.
Pitch Perfect.
Thank you. Yes. He's the creepy roommate.
Okay.
Right? Who like is in the box doing magic.
Is that in the first movie?
It's in the very first movie.
I don't remember how much of that I've actually seen.
Okay, this is my point. And Ben Platt was the big name. But theater goers don't like this movie.
Apparently no one went out to see it, so...
I don't think theater goers don't like it. I think a lot of people don't like it. I don't even think, theater people don't like this movie.
Well, that's why that's why I asked the question. Like, do you think because there was nothing notable to the mainstream, like nobody went to see it? Like, doesn't like even if the scores are incredibly low, even if the reception is incredibly bad, nobody went to see it in the first place.
Okay, so I personally, at first, I thought it was going to be available for streaming the same weekend it came out. Because I remember seeing that back like 6 months ago that they were, because of all the previews that you've seen of the when it goes to streaming versus when you see it in the theaters. So I was like, oh, it's going to be available for streaming. Shit.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Not for another couple of months. Right? Although they may change that.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet they step up that timetable. Just a hunch.
You know?
At $7.5 million, I don't see it lasting in theaters for too much longer.
No, I give it maybe another week or two.
Yeah. They're not going to chase it off just yet, but they got a lot of movies coming quick.
You know, and...
Yeah, starting tomorrow. So...
You know, it was an incredible letdown. The soundtrack isn't nearly as good as the Broadway score. And I don't know what's happening, because in my opinion, In the Heights was not well done compared to the Broadway show.
And I've heard that.
Most hardcore theater, as in theatrical theater, not as in movie theater, people were not a big fan of In the Heights. They changed the story. They got rid of some important characters. They cut some really good songs. It's not saying it was a bad movie. It was adequate, but it wasn't the film adaptation that the fans of the show wanted.
But what is?
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That's the songs, the pacing, the story, the plot line, everything from when you see it on stage completely matches what you see in the Donny Osmond version.
I was going to go with Producers, but I like yours better.
I could see Producers. And then you also have Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, who were in the same roles on Broadway.
Well, see, that makes sense then.
Well, you have the original Producers with Gene Wilder.
And really, Gene Wilder is just amazing.
Yeah. So, but again, the film versus the play. I don't know. This is not my area of expertise, but that's my 2 cents. Producers.
Yeah, I can see that. You know, Phantom did a better job
with the Butler version.
Yeah, it's not a great version, but it's better than some of the other interpretations.
Ugh. Don't even get me started on that.
Yes, but you don't like Gerard Butler singing.
To be honest, he's not great at it.
He's
not
not Russell Crowe.
He's not Russell Crowe, but I like Gerard Butler, so I'm willing to give him a pass because, you know.
There are some things he does very well. Standing with his back to the camera is one of those things.
He kicks dudes in the chest really good.
Yeah. This is Sparta after all.
And I enjoyed like The Angel Has Fallen and Olympus Has Fallen. You know, when he gets to like shoot guns and crawl through dirt.
Even when he was, what was it? Was it the Guy Code? What was the one or what guy?
The Ugly Truth.
The Ugly Truth.
He was great in that.
That's because he was a miserable prick in that, and that's always funny.
Perfect. Oh my God, it's absolutely brilliant. If you're gonna remake Lethal Weapon, there's your Martin Riggs right there. I'd
actually be on board with that. That'd be great.
I'd watch it.
Yeah. Hashtag Gerard Butler is my Martin Riggs.
Who's going to be Murtaugh, though?
I don't know. I mean, you got to don't say Samuel L. Jackson because that's crutch. You got to find somebody like Idris Elba. Oh my God.
Yes.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
There we go. We just successfully recasted Lethal Weapon.
And then you got to bring in. Who you got to bring in for DeVito or for Pesci?
Oh, that's a Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There you go.
That works.
Done.
I'd watch that. That sounds like a good movie, actually.
That's a good movie.
Let's pitch that.
Hashtag recast Lethal Weapon.
See, I haven't seen a whole lot of the Broadway versions of shows. I've seen like 3. So.
Well, and to be fair, there's a new one that's coming out that I'm surprised Bobby didn't bring it up, probably because it maybe flew under her radar, but they're doing a musical of Back to the Future.
Oh, no, I've seen it.
Oh my God, it just looks horrendous.
Do you think that's probably the reason why I didn't bring it up?
I'm sure that's exactly the reason why you didn't bring it up. However, the woman that they have playing Leah Thompson's character is almost a spitting image of Leah Thompson back then. Marty's got the same voice. The guy playing Christopher Lloyd sucks, but you can't fill Christopher Lloyd's shoes. That's like trying to fill Robin Williams' shoes. You just can't do it. So.
Yeah.
But
some of the new shows that are coming out just I feel the same way, unfortunately, right now about Broadway that I've been feeling about the cinema for a while. And that's they've run out of ideas.
Maybe.
You know, when they made SpongeBob the musical, I had issues. You know, they'll turn anything. You know,
I just want to see Clancy Brown on stage singing.
You know,
so do I now. So.
It's the Kurgan. No, it's not the Kurgan, you dumbass. Oh my God. Sorry.
Yeah.
We don't need to poke fun here.
So musical theater just is not what it once was. Like I was saying earlier, I'm a season ticket holder for the Denver Center for Performing Arts. And the show that I'm absolutely the most excited to see next season is To Kill a Mockingbird, the Aaron Sorkin adaptation.
That's going to be wordy.
It's going to be so good, though. Aaron Sorkin has this way of just like transforming characters.
Yeah, but who are you going to get to play Gregory Peck's character?
Yeah, who's playing Gregory Peck?
Well, we don't know who the traveling cast is yet, but Jeff Daniels played him on Broadway.
Oh, if it's Jeff Daniels, I want to go.
All right, Jeff Daniels.
If it's Jeff Daniels, I'm not only going, I'm going to like camp at the stage door until I get him to sign a part of my person.
Yeah, we know what part of that is.
It all depends on the weather.
There you go.
And on that bombshell, we'll move along. What else we got?
All right, Doctor Who.
Oh my God, Chris Chibnall can finally eat a warm bowl of dick. As Russell T Davies is announced to come in and kick his sorry ass out of the fucking production. God damn, about time.
You know, Smurf, I'm worried that you don't have strong feelings about this.
I have a lot of feelings and I have a lot of pent up emotion about this. Now let's get this clear. I have no problems with Jodie Whittaker being the Doctor. I have no problems with a female Doctor. However, I have a problem with Chris Chibnall's criminal violations of a 50-year franchise and retconning the entire fucking thing. And if you think that I'm the only fan that thinks this, look at the ratings. It has taken a sharp dive straight into the shitter since Chris Chibnall, who was supposedly like this great fan of Doctor Who, was taking over. He has single-handedly destroyed a 50-year-old franchise. Don't let the TARDIS door hit you where we don't care. Just get the fuck out.
You know, you're starting to go exterminate Chibnall.
Just roast that fucker. However, Russell T Davies will be back in the year 2023, just in time for the 60th anniversary. Now, if you read the article that has been released, there's a lot of elements in this story that play for and against the fans. We know that Russell T Davies is working on the 60th anniversary and following episodes. However, we do not know how long Russell T Davies will stay in the role of executive producing and writing for Doctor Who. So we can hope that it's for multiple seasons. My money is the anniversary and a season, and we will be back where we started. Jodie Whittaker has 6 episodes in the regular season that will be landing soon. And then they're going to kind of do a David Tennant thing where she has 3 specials that land, and then she regenerates into the next Doctor. So that falls to Russell T Davies.
Is he doing those?
He is not doing those. The 3 specials still are under Chibnall. The 6 episodes that we are unfortunately going to have to endure to get to the end of this torture session. What is it that the Klingons go through with the pointy sticks? That's kind of what I'm associating the next season of the Doctor. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I really don't give a shit. And I know there's a lot of people out there that don't care for Russell T Davies, and that's fine. You can be one way or the other, because I'm like a lot of people that I saw, well, I'm out. But Russell T Davies brought the series back. He had, Eccleston. He had Tennant. Granted, there are some holes and there's some things that could have been better.
Eccleston will always be my favorite Doctor.
And Eccleston delivered probably one of the best performances to bring back a franchise that had been shelved for years. I mean, this wasn't just like a small hiatus. This was years. And the States fucked it up. So, you say what you will, Russell T Davies did a lot for this property. So
he undeniably did a better job than Chibnall.
Oh, no doubt.
Unfortunately, I think the worst thing that we're getting out of the Chibnall era, though, is that Whittaker is taking all of the blame for the loss of fans.
Oh yeah, she's taking it on the shins for something, and it's
and
tell that it's not inherently her fault.
Yeah, everybody is saying that the reason that the numbers have dropped is because the Doctor was a woman. And I disagree.
It had a huge opening because it was a woman. They put like almost 12 million viewers on the first episode she was on.
11 million, but yeah. 11 million viewers on her opening episode. And it wasn't that there was a Doctor, it's that I did not like the way the season progressed. I stopped watching.
It was the way that it was written. That was the huge issue.
No, and it was horrible. And that's the bad thing about it. And because Jodie is the front person, because she is the focal, everyone is going to blame it on her. She's doing it. I mean, granted, she's a little limited in watching some of her stuff with Broadchurch and other projects she's been part of. She wouldn't have been my first choice. But
I don't think she was the greatest doctor of all time, obviously, but I don't think that her acting or her portrayal was the problem.
no, and she's working with the material that she's given, and under Chibnall's reign, it is like we said, they retconned 50 years of canon. You just don't toss that out the fucking window. So Chibnall came in with an agenda. Make no mistakes. Chibnall knew exactly what the fuck he was doing, and make or break, it all hangs on Jodie, unfortunately.
Yep.
She doesn't deserve that. But she is a victim of the worst writing for the series. Because, granted, say what you will, Matt Smith had some hit or misses. He probably suffered a lot from bad writing. So did Capaldi. But both of them still had some very standout episodes with some very powerful statements that made you think. You didn't get it rammed down your throat like you did with Whittaker. But Whittaker still didn't have any standout moments. I can't tell you a single moment of dialogue that I would want to repeat. But I can immediately think of like Capaldi, Smith, Tennant, Eccleston, all of them where they make their speeches and you're moved on an emotional level. Whittaker, you're moved on an emotional level, but it's the tears because you're like, this is fucking painful to watch.
I'm going to say, they did have standout moments, just none of them were good.
No, they were horrible, and it was to drive a point that Chibnall was so bad of a writer that they had to make sure, hey, we don't know if you got this because Chris sucks, so we're just going to keep slamming it in your face till the end of the episode.
Yeah.
There's one good thing that came out of the Chibnall era, and it's Man Meat as the master. And he played a beautiful master, and I want to see more of him. But the rest of it, just dump that shit.
I think that the fans will not be sad to see him go,
Nope.
and that we will hope that we keep Davies as long as possible, but understand that we'll have him for a short period of time, and maybe he can help bring in someone new.
It also depends because he's going to be the showrunner.
Yep.
How much writing is he actually doing?
He's probably doing a fair amount because he did before when he was doing. I mean, he did a fair amount of the writing for Eccleston. He probably did about 50 to maybe 75% of Tennant's era.
He also had Moffat though for a big chunk of that.
Mm-hmm.
Moffat was a huge contributor to the Tennant era for sure, and
which is my favorite era, to be honest. But that's me.
I just wish Eccleston had more.
Yeah, and
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
So he had that kind of balance. I don't know if he's going to have it, and I wouldn't be surprised if RTD does not bring in somebody else like Moffat to help him. I think he's talented enough, and he could probably pull from anywhere. And let's face it, the BBC's got nothing, literally nothing. They are going to throw money at this to fix it so they have a franchise, because Downtown Abbey is gone. They fired the Top Gear guys. I mean, when you look at what
when they got rid of Top Gear, I cried.
They got nothing. And let's face it, Grand Tour is killing it over on Amazon. So
does Jimmy Carr still have his shows on there?
I have not. I don't think he does.
Oh, well, that's disappointing because he was actually pretty funny.
He was kind of funny, but he didn't do well.
You get like Great British Bacon, Great British Bake Off. Can you see how much of this goblet is empty now?
Looks like over half at this point.
But to be fair, there's some significant house cleaning that has to go on, and the first one is the Timeless Children. If that is not fixed out of the gate or very close to it, you're still going to see just, I'm not in. Fuck off.
Based on what he has said, I don't know if you're going to get a full retcon on the Timeless Children, because he seemed to indicate that he was kind of okay with the concept of the story.
We'll just have to wait and
Just not
see.
how it
And unfortunately, we have to wait a while.
Yeah, we got like 2 years before we're going to see anything. So
2023, the 60th anniversary, and there's a very big hint that we get Matt Smith and Tennant back together again for the 60. Which
That would just be a wet dream.
That would be nice to see those guys back together again for the 60, since they really did kill it on the 50. So
we'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see. But Chimnal's out. Yay!
yay!
Do a happy dance. All right. Tink, you were talking about there's a bunch of stuff coming out as far as the cinema is concerned. Do you have that list ready for us?
Some pretty important stuff. Obviously, tomorrow is going to be the Let There Be Carnage. Starts tomorrow.
Venom.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. Many Saints of Newark is also tomorrow, or Friday, I believe, for Many Saints of Newark. Even though it's not as big to our demographic, I would say Addams Family 2.
Are you kidding?
I am excited about that one.
I'm so in for that.
I am too, but it's generally geared towards the younger kids, but it looks like it's going to be pretty fun. No Time to Die is next Friday on the 8th, which that movie's got some payments to make.
To get to even, Bobby, on No Time to Die, they have to make $900 million to break even.
Yeah. So, their production cost and their credit cost and then their advertising cost was absurd for this movie.
Sweet Christ on a cracker.
So to put in perspective, Spectre made about $1.2 billion. Is that correct?
Right around there. Yeah.
So they're barely, if they make $900 million, they break even. So to make a profit, you got to go.
And yeah, because they still have to pay off all the movie theaters. We're going to take a huge chunk of that.
Yep.
On the upfront. And I don't know. I mean, I hope for the best, I guess, for them. I mean, they're not going to stop making Bond movies. So
I don't know. MGM was desperately trying to sell the.
Well, they did. Universal bought them.
Yep. So we'll see what that does. I'm sad to see Craig go. I enjoyed him as Bond.
Mm-hmm. I thought that he was a very good Bond.
I agree. So I'm hoping they get someone just as charismatic to replace Daniel Craig.
Well, Daniel Craig is my second favorite Bond of all time. So
Pierce Brosnan being the first.
Connery.
Okay, I'm sure. I don't know how much Connery you have watched. He's always and will be
the best Bond. Yeah.
Connery is the best in a lot of things. I'm going to go back to my goblet of wine now.
And then October 15th is apparently the final chapter of Halloween. Halloween Kills.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Didn't they have the final chapter of that like 4 movies ago?
Probably 10 movies ago at this point. And then Dune on October 22nd.
I'm super excited about that.
That's the movie right there, baby.
Yeah, so like for the next 4 weeks, there is a big movie coming out every weekend.
I like it. And we will have the meat and potatoes coverage of it. That's right. We'll give you a rundown and our thoughts.
And we will never tell you because only one of us on this screen currently knows who Meat and Potatoes actually is. But if you ever want to have a completely unbiased and yet honest and open review of a film that has come out, check out Meat and Potatoes through 5280 Geek, who is our sister cast. Big fans of the Meat and Potatoes reviews. Have only disagreed, I think, once over the past couple of years. So
disagree with. If it's the Godzilla one, that one got the most. That one got the most hate mail.
We'll talk about that offline. So on that lovely note, we shall be back with more of those movie reviews and talking more about what if. Hopefully, they're going to take it into a better direction and a number of other things because there are many cons to come in the month of October. So,
Yeah, lots to do this month, actually.
yeah. October is a busy month.
Yeah, if you like nerd culture, busy month this month.
And if you don't, why the fuck are you listening to us?
Lack of options. Nothing else to watch on a Wednesday.
We'll go with all of that. Before you want to see my boobs? Is that why?
Yes, that's exactly it.
But
the selling.
And I'm in a high neck shirt today. Normally, I'm just like I have way better cleavage. There we go.
Yep. See, our ratings just went up.
There you go. I was going to say a happy birthday to my older brother, who is very, very old today. But since I just flashed the camera my tits, I feel like it's not appropriate. So I will just shoot him a text message.
And on that titty bombshell, we shall say goodnight. We will be back next week to inform you on whatever fucking craze we think is worthwhile and we want to entertain you with. But in the meantime, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind. Good night.